Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jake Brady, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm doing a deck tech, another one, on this commander from the Jumpstart Brothers War. I think that's what it is. So many Magic products coming out these days. Once I read this card, I was like, this might be the best thing I've ever read in my life. We are looking at Kibo Uktabi Prince. He is a legendary creature, monkey noble. He costs 2 colorless and a green. He says tap him. Each player creates a colorless artifact token named Banana with tap, sacrifices artifact, add a red or a green, and you gain 2 life. He also goes on to say whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control that's an ape or a monkey. Whenever Kibo himself attacks, defending player sacrifices an artifact. Basically, this is how this deck operates. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey pee all over you. Oh man. This is such, like, the whole deck that I built. You can build this deck for like $30 or $40 and you'll have a blast with it. But I put a couple of upgrades in here that are a few dollars extra, and it still came out to be like $70. But, you know, in the considering there's more expensive cards if you want to go that route. But other than that, let's get into this deck, man. Oh my god. Alright, starting off with ramp. I mean, your commander is basically ramp. Each turn he's on the battlefield, you make an artifact that can give you a mana. It's basically a treasure token that gains you life in this deck. Like, that's pretty good. But moving on from the commander, you have obviously Arcane Signet, Gruul Signet, Soul Ring. Now there's 2 interesting. I don't say one of them's a mana rock, the other one isn't. Liquid Metal, Liquid Metal, Liquid Metal Torque. Yes, that taps for a colorless, and you can also tap it to make a non-land permanent an artifact. Now this works really well with your commander because he says whenever an artifact is put into an opponent's graveyard, each ape or monkey gets a 1/1. So let's say something's about to die or you are about to remove something from the battlefield, you can make it an artifact so when it hits the grave, you can get the triggered ability on your commander. Now, Liquid Metal Coating, it doesn't tap for a colorless, it just has the ability where you can make a permanent an artifact. So, I mean, that's also good because you want to be buffing up your creatures as much as you can in this deck. Because, you know, the win condition basically is combat with a bunch of monkeys, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say in my life. Now, moving on to the commander's activated ability. You want to get this activated ability off as much as you can because you want to make a lot of, I'm just going to call them, oh no, they're banana tokens. You want to make a lot of bananas, and you want to give your opponents a bunch of bananas so they use them because it's mana, and you really buff up your apes and monkeys. That's what you want to do. Now, here's a couple of ways we can get this ability off multiple times. There's an underrated card that I played in Selvala called Instill Energy. It costs 1 green, and it lets you untap any creature for free once each turn. Like, that's pretty amazing what that card does. And then we also have 1,000-Year Elixir. I don't have it in the main board. It's in the considering because it's like $5, but this is one of the better ones, obviously. Now, a cheaper alternative is Patriarch's Seal. It adds 1 mana of any color, and then you can untap target legendary creature you control. Now, this is a little bit more budget friendly. It's still a couple of dollars. You also have Illusionist Bracers, which is also in the considering. This says whenever you activate an activated ability of the equipped creature, it happens an additional time. So you get 2 triggers of your commander's ability if this is equipped. So because you want to make, obviously you want to make as many banana tokens as you want. Then you're going to want some kind of, I don't know how to say this, but like ping effect, which you can do. And that is magnetic mine. Whenever another artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, magnetic mine deals 2 damage to that artifact's controller. Now this is something good. I mean, obviously you are going to, actually I just realized mid video, it deals 2 damage to the artifact's controller. But when you sacrifice the banana token, you gain 2 life. So it negates the magnetic mine. Alright, let's change this up then. Okay. This card can go in the deck. You run something like Curse of Opulence. Boom. Whenever somebody attacks one of your opponents, they create a treasure token. They use treasure tokens. They deal 2 damage to them. Alright. Now that makes better sense. I like this better. That. Oh my god, you can tell I do these on a whim. Now, there's one card here in this deck. It's probably, do I want to say it's the best card in the deck? It depends what's on the board, but this card can seriously generate you a lot of value if you do it at the right moment. And that's going to be Vandal Blast. Vandal Blast can destroy all of your opponent's artifacts. Now, if you have the right pieces on the board, you can do something with this. Obviously, I don't have this in the main board, but it's a combo that I've used before that's absolutely filthy. It's Vandal Blast and Mycosynth Lattice. Mycosynth Lattice makes everything on the battlefield an artifact. So if you overload a Vandal Blast, you wipe each opponent's board. Usually, if you get this off, your opponent will concede. Because you have a full board and they literally have not a single thing. They don't just get sent back to the Stone Age. They get sent back to the beginning of time. Now, if you don't have the money for a Mycosynth Lattice, a cheaper option, but it's still a few dollars, Karn. Is it Karn the Great Creator? Oh my god. There is a colorless Karn Planeswalker that says activated abilities of artifacts cannot be activated. So those banana tokens they have cannot be activated. So they can stockpile a bunch of banana tokens. And they can't do anything about it. The problem with Karn, because since they can't activate them, they're not going to really be sacrificing banana tokens. So if you are going to run a lot of permanent removal, or mainly, more specifically, artifact removal, then you can do Karn. But other than that, you want your opponent sacrificing them. It's a small price to pay for banana. Now, the main way to win with this deck, the ultimate goal of this deck, is to have as many apes or monkeys on the battlefield as possible, with your commander out, having each opponent sacrifice artifacts, or you can even destroy their artifacts, to buff your creatures as much as possible. Now, then there's ways you can even make them bigger, with one being Overwhelming Stampede. This obviously could be a game ender at the right moment. Also, this one isn't as fast as Overwhelming Stampede, but over time it could really get you a lot of value, which is Throne of Geth. It says you tap it, sacrifice an artifact, and you proliferate. So whenever you sacrifice an artifact, your commander doesn't give your creatures a 1/1. It's only when your opponent sacrifices an artifact. But with Throne of Geth, you can sacrifice your own tokens if you don't need the mana, and you can proliferate yourself. So like this, you're using your commander's ability, but for you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's been a deck tech on Kibo Uktabi Prince. Thank you all for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, please let me know down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.